Hello, this is Bianca Noir. I haven't done a video update in quite some time. I have been in crisis. I am still in crisis. This crisis is not going away entirely. I feel things have improved a bit because I've been able to access certain social benefits and legal representation that's getting things on the right track. Had I not had legal representation and had outreach to resources and had outreach to my congresspeople and had some law enforcement contacts, I don't think this would have gone very smoothly, especially not for me. So the thing is I'm really in the dark about all that. And things are getting even weirder because considering that I've done all this and we're getting things back on track, I am seeing things spiral out of control in my life in which I'm on more stable ground, but I'm seeing even weirder things happen than typical. So I'm actually pretty isolated in my apartment. I'm creating work. I'm trying to get things together. I am doing things with social benefits. I'm working with unemployment. I'm working with trying to get disability. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. I'm doing some online classes, some dance classes with Dance Masterclass. Just so you know, Dance Masterclass is a resource for you. I had wanted to try it for quite some time. I've recommended some teachers to Dance Masterclass, some master teachers I think would be excellent. And some people also who may not necessarily feel like they are a master of their craft, but they're definitely on the scene when it comes to the most trending stuff that's out there as far as choreography is concerned. So I did recommend some people that I would love to take class with that I can't because they have Zoom live classes. So I've been doing a few of those this week. And if you don't know, something like this is actually maybe more economical for you in your situation than maybe studio classes are, because you might have a studio where you have to drop in and one class might cost $15 to $30. You just don't know. If you get hooked on that class, then you're going to want to do class passes and things like this, or a yearly membership. With Dance Masterclass, there's a couple of different ways to break it down, but if you can pay for the yearly membership, or if you check and see if they have a special deal, then the live classes are only $9 a month. So I paid for entire access for 1 year with a very special discount for Easter, and I'm paying $9 a month for online classes, Zoom classes, and I'm actually getting corrections that I don't typically get all the time. And the classes are smaller. I feel like I'm much more in alignment. And when I get out of alignment and when I am not dancing and I have to be consistently dancing all day, a couple of hours at least, several times a week, a lot of times I make that up with freestyle dancing, and you can see that in some of my content. But if I am not dancing several hours a day, I feel bad. I feel so tense and so stressed out. So as you can see probably in my Substack, I did a legal crisis update, and then I've kind of just stayed, offline a little bit, and there's a reason why. I've had way too much to do. I'm overwhelmed. I'm really stressed out, and I'm really busy right now. And actually the last 2 days, despite feeling better in one way, like having my workout and like feeling like I really worked on my dancing, and I feel like I really stretched and I really got in there and every muscle was used, something is going on with my body. And that tends to happen after I do a really intense work sometimes, is I'll start to feel a little bit different the day after. Sometimes people feel sore. I've been feeling some tension and like something happening here. You'd say it was like more third chakra type stuff. Spiritually, if you want to get into the spiritual relationship of it, it's more of like a second, third chakra, and it might have to do with my confidence and things. But anyway, pain, cramping, a little bit of pain and cramping, fatigue, feeling a little bit drowsy and just out of it, and not having any patience really for anything right now, and just sort of like, I've been in like a haze the past 2 days. I went to my nurse, and we determined through looking at my blood work that yes, I do have an issue right now. The issue is vitamin D deficiency, which has, again, nothing to do with my vegan diet. Really, it has to do with my ability to synthesize vitamin D. And she actually also told me, hey, everything else looks good. So the vitamins that I decided to buy might have been sort of preemptive, excitement about my, research and my blood work. Sometimes I get a little bit excited and I'm like, I want to fix this. I want to see if it feels better for me to be on some magnesium glycinate or some zinc or something. And she's kind of coaching me, telling me, hey, don't do too much zinc. You can really, really, really get sick from zinc because it's like a metal. And so is iron is a metal. So keep in mind, if you're taking iron supplements, that's a metal. And you can overdo it with some of this. And my nurse is actually quizzing me sometimes and asking me some questions like, so what does this mean? And I'm like, I don't know. Tell me, I'm interested, So I feel kind of like this journey is enlightening with my health. And I feel like the research I do is interesting, and I love learning more about medical science, but it's not really a field that I've really studied. It's actually strangely a hobby. I mean, who do you know who has medical science as a hobby? That's not really a hobby, okay? A hobby is like origami. Okay, so my hobbies sometimes are science related. I'm actually really getting into this, I think it's Artemis, is it 2 or 3? To the moon, the space shuttle that's going around the moon right now, with the first woman, I think it's the first African American man, and the first person from another country going with a U.S. Team around the moon. And then I saw that apparently there's some unusual activity on the moon right now, which was pretty eye-opening. And if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't know that. And by the way, did you know that apparently, and I don't know all of the facts about this, but apparently Michael Jackson, who this big Michael movie is about, right, with DeFar Jackson, and this sort of biopic that everyone's talking about that's sort of controversial. Is it too sugar-coated? Is it telling a grim story that maybe might be too controversial in that effect? Well, Michael Jackson not only created the moonwalk, but he bought plots on the moon. Apparently, this is what I've heard, Michael Jackson has plots on the moon. So I was like, that's interesting. I want to see images of Michael Jackson's plots on the moon. And I want to know more about that. I haven't really been working on any music the last couple of days. I did just write an episode sample for Fishnet Stockings. If you don't know, on my Patreon, there's a section where you can shop. And I have a pro plan for peers who might be interested in my writing and in the effect of, wow, I want to see if some of this writing can be used for a production that I want to do upcoming. Or maybe there's somebody out there who, has read some of my work, is kind of interested in me, and wants to look a little bit more deeply into some of my projects and take them more seriously. So there's a section, and it's $1,000 a month to join. Okay, that's, some people may think, wow, she's got delusions of grandeur and she's really reaching. But you know what? It's not really, because I did it. I put it out there and it's there. If nobody takes it, that's fine. Nobody takes it, but maybe someday somebody will. And if you post things and it's behind a paywall, just keep in mind, I know for a fact that just because something's behind a paywall doesn't mean that people aren't seeing it. So the people have access to your paywalled content that are connected to the paywall platform that you're using. So just keep in mind, if you post something, it's not like nobody is ever going to see it because it's paywalled. If you feel like you don't really have a following, just start building up your paywalled content, and eventually maybe somebody will even be interested in the archive stuff. So I have about, I think it's like 3 or 4 authentic production ideas that are like, that could be a mini-series film, other types of projects that maybe it could be used for interactive types of maybe role-playing, even role-playing type games, or interactive projects where other artists could start getting involved, and it could be a way that artists communicate. So I'm really open-minded about these projects, but ultimately, as money makers, I have about, I think, there's three or four. I'm getting lost in some of my writing, but there's Fishnet Stockings is a manuscript that I've been writing, and I have written other manuscripts before and published them. This is a manuscript that is primarily made for something. It's geared for something like a Netflix type miniseries. It's got a dark psychological thriller type vibe. It's a crime drama with a little bit of humor. It's kind of grim. I like a grim type of crime drama / humor. I like a little bit of humor in there, so we're not just like feeling like we're psycho people watching psycho people in true crime. You know, they say staying up all night watching true crime is actually a real big red flag that, you know, maybe the person who is watching the true crime, something's not right up here. That being said, I think that crime dramas and crime humor films and psychological thrillers are actually very healthy for the brain, because I think it teaches people the kinds of patterns to notice in order to stop at a certain point and say, hey, this looks now like a series of red flags that's kind of like a scripted production. Why is this happening in my life, and am I in danger? That's my goal. Every time as an artist, my goal, my mission statement as an artist is to support and strengthen vulnerable groups. And so everything I do as a political artist is to support and strengthen vulnerable groups. And then ultimately create that in a way that is so entertaining that really nobody even knows that it's educational. Nobody even knows that it has any sort of morals, values, or ethics. It's just entertaining. There's Fishnet Stockings, and there's several other ones that I've created, at least 3 more that they're just starters. But Fishnet Stockings, I have about, it's getting close to having a season. We're getting close to having a season. Certainly there's enough content and enough context that it writes itself now. And I do use AI to help facilitate this, but these are all my original productions. I didn't use AI and say, hey, come up with a production for me to make me a lot of money that everyone's gonna like and everyone's gonna watch. That's not what I did. I came up with these original ideas. All the characters are mine. Every inch of this production is my original creation with Fishnet Stockings. All the other productions are my original ideas. Yes, they have some basis in reality. Usually with good writing, you'll find even fiction is based on truth, based on reality. And all of my work in many ways it's almost like a literary nonfiction kind of quality to it. So keep that in mind. That's why it has an impact on people, and that's why it's relevant, because it's based on something, right, that is weak. I like to find weaknesses and strengthen them. And my version of weakness is not everyone's version of weakness, but I think I've really discovered what weakness is because I've been so weak, and I realize in many ways weakness is violence. What's powerful is doing things without being violent. That's what's powerful. Accomplishing things without violence is to me the most powerful thing that there is. Okay, so that's an update, and you'll see that I'm working on things. I have some ideas for some songs. I have some ideas for some performances, some videos and things like this. I'm trying to go out a little bit, but weird things, really weird things are happening when I go out that are unexpected, because I think things have been rolling into place, and that, okay, I think things are improving, and like maybe they aren't. Okay, I have to go now. I don't know what's going on here, but I think that there's a bee in here. There's a bee in my apartment, or a yellow jacket or something.